Okay, I'm returning to Blake 7. Yeah, I've had boxes and boxes of old kits. I've put them aside from all my other bits boxes um, in case, I want to do another studio recreation of a model from the 1970s. And I've amassed an awful lot, and they're just sitting there gathering dust. And I've been considering, just incorporating them into scratch builds, but I've decided to, keep it quite fitting, and I'm going to make something that would have used parts like these, i.e., a model from the 1970s, and I'm going to make something that's not actually seen in Blake 7, and that is the hangar bay on Phosphoron, where the plague ship lands in the fantastic episode Killer from its second season. I've already done, and you will have seen already on the photo at the beginning of this, and you're going to see it shortly. I've already done a studio recreation of the plague ship. And I thought, well, why not use up a lot of these kit parts and make something you never see in the episode. In the episode, you see it in space. When it lands, they use a shot of the London landing on Cygnus Alpha for it. But you'd never see the hangar bay. You see video footage of the people who've gone in to examine it. You see them go in. Now those big blobby Michelin men in the corridor outside, but you never see the hangar bay. The only clue I've got to go with is this. This is a shot of Blake, who's just teleported down shortly after the Michelin men have gone inside. And this is the only real clue I've got to what is happening inside. All right. So, yeah, I've got free reign. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use kit parts that would have been around down at Woolworths when the Beeb guys went down there to get stuff. So yeah, a lot of kit parts and trusty old foam board. So this is the start. I'll be back with part 2. All right, so I've been cutting out the foam board for the basis of Site 5. This in the story, it's called Site 5 on Phosphoron, where the K-47 Wanderer class spaceship touches down. All right. The size of this display is going to be dictated by the size of shelf that I've got free for the spaceship. So basically what I did was I measured out a length of foam board like so, and you can see I drew round it a silhouette, so I knew where everything was going. And also I'm dictated by how high I go is how high it is between that shelf and the next shelf. So that goes that high. All right. So there'll be a roof coming across here. And then at this end, round about here where I've marked it, I'm going to have an upright, because I've got to support this back wall. I'm going to have an upright which comes up and over, but not back down again. All right. I've got that going on at the back. All right. So this area here will be blocked off and detailed, and you can see I've drawn and cut out an alcove, and that's because in the story when Blake teleports down and starts choking to death on the fumes, Gambrel says to him, "Don't you know enough to steer clear of the exhaust vents during a landing?" To which Blake says, "I thought the ship was down," and Gambrel replies, "The engines aren't vented yet." So there must have been some way of venting the engines back here. So beyond this, in this little area, I want to convey some sort of contraption device which would slide forward, latch onto the engine bells to vent that. All right. So that's what I'm going to be doing there. Along the back wall, I've drawn lines, and that's just to aid me in placement of parts. All right. So everything stays upright and true. And you can see there, I've put tight. And the reason I've put tight is it will be tight between the spaceship and the back wall. So I know not to go too deep on any detail that's anywhere in that area. All right. So with it all blue tacked together for this little bit of video, I can now take it apart and yeah, start having a rummage through the bits boxes. Right, this is the state of play today. Let's walk you through the hanger. So, like I said before, I wanted to keep the pipes and tubes that you see in the power station or wherever it was they did the location filming. You just have the corridor outside the hangar bay, and there's lots of, it looks like an old boiler room or something like that. So I wanted pipes and tubes. So you may recognize this. This is one of the chrome parts off of the R2D2 kit, which certainly was out when they were making season 2 of Blake 7. I was going to put, you can see here, TIE Fighter, I was going to put the one of Darth Vader's TIE Fighter wings on here inside out, so it was facing this way, but I'm very conscious of weight because this is, you know, basically a giant L shape of foam board. If there's too much weight, it's going to give way, maybe. So what else have we got down here? The grey part is off the Airfix Bismarck kit, which is a great kit for these like strange little shapes and lots of tiny little greebles. These two bits, the bluer coloured ones, are off of the Airfix 1/24th scale Mustang, the P51 Mustang kit, which I bought because I needed a few bits, and it was only a few bits from that when I was doing the hairdryer ship from Blake 7. All right, so I've got tons of parts left over, so I thought I'd put them in. I've just got to cap that with something. Then we've got a bit of half rod from EMA. That's a tiny tank tread bit, 144th, I think. I thought I'd put these in. This is very in keeping. Come on, these things are manoeuvring thruster jets off of the space shuttle kit, which, you know, I had to put in there because, you know, an awful lot of the plague ship is space shuttle. Speaking of which, next bit, this is all over the plague ship, the external rockets. All right, so I've cut one of them down, turned it upside down, hopefully, because it's going to be a different color. It's not going to be too noticeable that is just like, you know, what's on the ship. Hopefully people will think that that's more of like a chimney. This, I think, is off of a truck kit, a plate off of a 1/24th scale AMT truck kit, Tamiya tank bit. That bit there is off the Spitfire kit again. And again, we've got another one. We've got another one of them. But what I've done is I've cut a bit off and turned it round. So hopefully it's not too noticeable. It's the same part. Also, I'm very conscious as I'm adding bits to the back wall that you're not going to see an awful lot of the back wall because, you know, the ship is going to be just here. Right, and then this is what the venting area looks like at the moment. We're ready for primer for these. I'll just talk you through kit parts. So this opening, you may or may not recognise these kit parts, but that's off the R2D2 kit. The two tan coloured wheels are off a 1/35th Tamiya tank, and then you've got other aircraft bits in there. That's a little tank wheel. All this stuff, all this tubing, all this lining is EMA, which Matt Irvin and co was definitely using when they were doing Blake 7. R2D2 kit again. I want it to look factory-like and industrial because that's exactly what's happening out in the corridor. Another R2D2 bit at the bottom, again stuck on the bottom to give this a bit more weight. Okay, chrome bit R2D2. That's Tamiya 88mm gun, I think. That's the half track, Tamiya half track. Just some plastic card, more mini tank tracks. Yeah, R2D2 again. So that's the opening, and then the very back of it. I was looking at some sort of like flexible hosing or something for the venting. You know, the engines aren't vented yet, but no, I'm going to leave it at this. And and I'm going to paint these chrome with the inference that these either suck the fumes out, or these will come out and be like a Hoover attachment and attach to the engine nozzles. So what you've got in here is, this is a grid. It's actually part of a filter for an aquarium, and yeah, you get packs of these, and they're injection plastic, so everything glues very well, and you just cut them to size. So the basis of that is that. Then I've put a plate of plasticard, and here we have lunar module, a nod to the ship because you've got lunar module parts on that. Two rear engine areas off of the space shuttle, plastic rod, Tamiya, X-wing, 88mm R2D2, 88mm, half of a rear bottom of a tank thing, not a tank, not sure what, more EMA, R2D2. So yeah, this bit, let me stand up, this bit and this bit are just about to be primed. This then I'll be spraying black and then lead belcher metallic over the top. This area is going to be very, very dark and grubby and sooty and dirty because, hey, it's a venting area. All right, so that's the venting area painted and in, and also the front bit to it is in. Not as much of it is as visible as I would have liked. Maybe I should have moved these down a bit, but they're roughly in the same place where the engines will be, just about here, so they had to be that height. So this upper lunar module bit, unless I get the camera way down low, really I did it for nothing. But anyway, that's in. That's all for now. I was just going to say, for anybody who has never encountered or used foam board, like I say, it's very light, it's very cheap, and why I like it is, you know, regular model glue sticks to it no problem, super glue sticks to it no problem, hot glue sticks to it no problem. But word of warning, if you've never used it before and were considering it, it's called foam board because it's a sheet of foam, polystyrene foam, as you can see there, and very, very thin. Is it a plastic? I don't know what it is, but as I say, plastic glue sticks to it. But be warned, yeah, super glue, regular injection plastic glue, hot glue sticks to this. This, if you want to join two pieces together, don't glue along that with super glue or model glue, because it will dissolve the polystyrene. All right, hot glue does it no problem, but yeah, just be wary of that. Okay. All right, so I've put the ship in place just to gauge, you know, how I'm doing with the back wall details, what I can see, what I can't see, what needs doing. I think we're going to need to put a bit of tubing up on that chrome bit and bring that down, some piping there. This area here is too blank, so I'm going to need to put something there. All right. Oh, by the way, that little clear thing that you see there is a little in joke, because it's there and there on the original model, and what that is, they're the windows, clear windows from the old Airfix Boeing 707 kit. All right, so yeah, we're nearly there. As I say, some piping over there, some shapes there just to break that wall up a bit, and then I've got to start looking for yeah, a suitable shade of green in rattle can for this. All right, so I've tried to match the colour green that we see the outside corridor being. Someone who has been following my progress on Facebook or Instagram had called it hospital green, and they're spot on. So Thank you for spotting that. It is that horrible green, that gloss green that you used to get in hospitals in the 60s and 70s. So I've had to recreate it, and basically this top coat is Tamiya cockpit green. All right, and I like Tamiya colours. They're very authentic to the Second World War, but even though they're acrylic, they go on quite horrible. I've always had a problem with them. They go on very blotchy and goopy, and you can never get one decent coat in one go. What I found to do, and especially what I did here, because I had an awful lot to paint, is I'd load up my paintbrush with the paint, then dip my paintbrush into some water to add some water, and then slop it on, which made it spread better, but it went very thin. So this is like 4 or 5 coats, and as you can see in areas, it is still blotchy, but I have it in mind this hanger bay, this phosphorin hanger bay is not the cleanest and nicest of places. It's, if you like, their version of a hanger bay of Mos Eisley. So yeah, you can see here, it is streaky, but I want it streaky because the next stage is to start doing some weathering and putting oil blotches and that. What I've got to do here, you'll see these areas that are black. These are ones I'm going to be picking out in metallics. All right, you see I've got to touch up. I'm keeping the floor matte black, so I've just got to touch all that up. All right, and especially there on that lintel, you'll see you can't see into the venting area, and that's because I've put this extra piece of scrap foam board just in there to protect it. And as you can see, just as well I did, and especially true now coming up with the very runny washes. After I've done that and gone in and picked out all the details and that, the final stage is just blocking off this area between the outside wall and the back wall of the venting area, and I'm going to put a roof on it. I'm going to put on a roof on it, and I'm going to put some lighting in it, a strip of lights coming along, so coming down onto the spaceship. So I'll come back once all this is weathered and done. Right, so that's the walls done and the weathering done. Okay, like so. All I've got to do now is block in this bit, put a blanking plate there, and yeah, then construct a ceiling with lighting in it, and yeah, and then we'll be done. And there we go, all done. It's really not as red as it appears here. This is just the camera picking up the redness. The redness is something very simple. All this is a sheet of foam board at the top for a roof. Here we've got a strip of red LED lighting, 9-volt battery, and what I've done is I cut a slot out and then just hot glued some tracing paper in place to act as a diffuser, and I've just taped these down like so. So there you go. That's my rendition. See, it's not so red now, is it, if I pull right back? That's my rendition of the hanger, the unseen hanger in Killer. All right, look at that redness now. Before I go, one little thing that I think I discussed when I was building the ship, which is the scale of the ship. And there's all sorts of speculation because, of course, you know, they used footage of the London landing on Cygnus Alpha for the ship landing. You never saw the hangar bay, and you've never really got an idea of scale. Now I know there's a wee little ladder there. That's an EMA ladder, which I think is 144th, maybe, or 100. Can't remember. But anyway, so I know some folk think, oh, that gives the scale away. But look at the size of those cockpit windows. They're huge if that's the scale of the ship. The other thing is, and the thing that makes me think that it's more this scale, this is 1/72nd scale, X-Wing pilot there. I'm thinking it's more along those lines, because if you watch the episode, Dr. Bellfriar is listening to the team as they go on board, and he's watching that in real time, and I timed it, and it's just about a minute and a half of dialogue as they explore the ship. They go up 2 levels and they move aft. All right, so it ain't a big ship, and it only had a crew of 3. So I think they're all up in this bit in the aft section, right, where they find the body, and the rest of this is all propulsion, okay, and navigation and sensors and stuff like that. And I think I said this before when I was making the ship, there is a hatch here, or there is a rectangle. And I don't know if Matt Irving, when he built the ship, actually intended it to be this sort of scale, about 1/72nd, because that is pretty much the right scale for 1/72nd. So there you go. That's my take on it. And great fun. And as I say, I've built it to fit on my shelf where this plague ship usually sits. And at the very least now, I've got a nifty little dust cover for it.